Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. So today I will begin where Imam alayhi salam wants. So I'm presenting this book Traditions of Mufaddhal, जिसे तौहीद मुफज्जल के नाम से मशहूर है, जो छठे इमाम अपने शागिर्द हज़रत मुफज़्ज़ल को तालीम देते हैं तौहीद के बारे में। तो हमने अभी तक इंसान की मखसूस अज़ा के बारे में और उसकी मखसूस तरीक़े से जो अल्लाह ने ख़िलक़त की है उसके बारे में पढ़ा है, और फिर एनिमल किंगडम के बारे में पढ़ा है, और फिर थर्ड चीज़ नेचर और एनवायरनमेंट के अंडर हम ये सेशंस कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं। तो इस सेशन में today I will begin where Imam alayhi salam wants to consider the heat and cold cycle, increase and decrease in temperatures, and resulting four seasons. Among benefits of change in seasons, Imam mentioned about variety of fruits, vegetables, grains that grows in different seasons. Also, Imam alayhi salam want us to consider how the Almighty Allah has ordained the gradual change of heat and cold to protect man from damage of sudden change in temperature. Then Imam alayhi salam says, there is instruction for those who ponder over this and approve that all this procedure is for the good of the universe and the individual thereof through the design of Almighty Allah. Next, Imam alayhi salam takes our attention towards air and wants us to consider what if it stopped blowing. There will be distress, strangulation. Healthy people will become healthy persons become ailing. Fruits will get spoiled. Vegetables get decayed. Physical bodies will get infected. This demonstrates that the blowing of air is for the good of creation by a plan of Almighty Allah. Also imagine if the air has not been provided in such abundance, men would have suffocated because of the smoke and other vapors and other pollutions congesting it. If the atmosphere had not been so vast, it could not have served as a medium for light and heavy clouds. Just because the atmosphere is so large, the clouds, water get evaporated and clouds are formed, and rain happens. So which now gradually gather up and by absorption of water. Another characteristics of air is that sound is produced by the impact of two bodies, and it is carried to the ears by air. All men continue to speak part of day or night if this speech left its impression in the air, similar to like the writing which leaves impression on paper. The whole atmosphere would have been filled with the same, with the consequent of uneasiness and perplexity. They would have needed to change in the atmospheric air, just as we need a new paper to write something again. The need of this would be even greater than change of paper, because like oral speech is much more indulged than the written expression. Then Imam alayhi salam says, the Almighty Creator, glory be to him, has created such a mysterious medium which retains the impression just for enough time to serve the needs of the people of the world and makes a clean state to get renovated for fresh impression. यहाँ पे इमाम ये बता रहे हैं कि कैसे हम जो आवाज़ हवा कैरी करती है, वो आवाज़ कुछ देर के बाद में एटमॉस्फेयर में गायब हो जाती है। अगर कि ये नॉइज़ेस, ये आवाज़ें हमेशा के लिए रह जाएँ, तो कैसे सुनने में कितनी मुश्किल हो जाएगी। Next, basically this same air is the medium for transmission as sound waves to distant places. The same air carries the fragrance from place to place. Same air is the carrier of heat and cold, which alternate regularly for benefit of world. It transfers cloud from place to place, causes plants to bring blossom and fruits. It cools water, inflames fire, and dries up dampness. So, in short, it supports and enlivens all things on the earth. Without this blowing air, vegetations would dry up, animal life would become extinct, and everything would have perished. Then Imam alayhi salam want us to consider how Almighty Allah has made earth vast, that it could suffice for human needs of agriculture, housing, meadows, forest, and variable minerals. Even the desolate plains have been converted into blossoming gardens and buildings. Now, Imam alayhi salam want us to consider the earthquakes. Just few seconds of earthquake shattered the life and damaged buildings and infrastructure. Now think if earth quakes all the time, can life persist in such conditions? Now, another thing to consider is the soft nature of earth. Can you visualize that if earth has been made little more dry in nature to harden like a stone, if earth would have been hard like a stone, could it have produced any vegetation on which depends all the life? Could any agriculture have been possible, or any kind of building, even buildings, been feasible? One more characteristics of earth is uh, earth's constitution as ordained by Almighty Allah is its gradual slope. Why Almighty Allah, glory be to him, ordained it? Surely to allow the surplus water to flow to the sea. Just as the roof is made sloping from one side to another to prevent water collecting and to allow its easy passage, the land is made to slope for that reason. If it were not so, the whole earth might have been swamped with stagnant water. Next, Imam alayhi salam want us to consider about fire. If it has been as abundant as water and air, it would have consumed everything in the world. If it would be like as abundant as water and air, it would consume everything in the world. If it is not so widespread as to consume like all things in its vicinity, it is created in just right measure to avoid any sort of demerits. Also, like it is enshrined in wood, it is kept inside the wood or other ignitable materials, and it can be used when need arises. So it is so men is given control and use it to their will. The animals have no need for it. Also, Almighty Allah has endowed men with palms, fingers, to light fire up, which animals are not gifted with. Next, Imam alayhi salam want us to consider the ingenuity underlying the rain. There are times there are times when sky is clear and times when it rains. Imagine what if persistence of any one state would have caused disorder. When sky is clear for a long time, the earth dries up, the vegetation withers up, and if it rains continuously, the vegetation and plants begin to rot. But when they alternate, each in turn compensate the demerit of other. Also, the rain pours down on highland or the lowland in the same way. If it were to come from just one corner, it would have left the highlands not irrigated without provision for agriculture. Rains comprehend the whole of the earth, so people are saved from the trouble of carrying water from one place to another. Then one more characteristics of rain is that it sprinkles instead of sudden pouring like flood. If it would have suddenly poured like flood, it would have uprooted standing crops. It is ordained to rain in mild showers so that it is soaked in earth and enable seeds to sprout, standing crops to be refreshed. So Imam al Islam says like Don't you see what a grand blessing in this little rain for mankind? Yet the people are heedless thereof. Oftentimes, when some little need of a man is not met, he begins grumbling and blustering. He prefers his petty needs to the worthwhile grand benefits which are present, which are in the nature everywhere. So I will stop here and I will inshallah continue from here next in the next session.